old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and rods. A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large, muscular man. The title reads, Man from ELYSIUM in the Lost City of the Pygmies.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia, not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is, drapes it all over his machine.
A Stars Ryko, one of the finest Zhimsk-made motor carriages ever. An oldie but a goldie. Not many people outside of Grad, and Revachol West too, it appears. Bulky frame, heavy, hardy, looks like a tractor. Yes, built like a tractor, and used like one too in the Zemsk countryside. Take note of the 8-antler emblem, the symbol of the Stars Ryko, proudly born to honor its humble roots.
A Stash Ryko KK2, that's a classic model. Never thought I'd see another one repainted after what happened last time.
No, only that the motor carriage is typically baby blue, the colors of Sigismund the Great, an ancient Zemsk ruler. His banners were famously zephyr and white, the colors of the Stars Ryko.
An old case for my precinct. A couple of Zemsk migrants saw a Stash Ryko stopped in the street, painted just like this, muddy brown. Murdered the driver on the spot. They said it was an honor killing, Hussar style. The Zemsk community protested to trial, flying the banners of some old king or whatever. 5,000 came to protest.
Correction, 4,395, the fourth largest public protest of a criminal trial in Revachol.
Is that so, officer? I'll take you at your word. People we are paid to protect. Let's leave it at that. Four years for murder in Reunion. The perps were remorseful. Their sorry knocked 8 years off the sentence. That's the system.
The prisons in the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour are already full. Prisoners are expensive to maintain. The longer the sentence, the larger the cost.
I try to avoid drawing far-gone conclusions like this before actually examining the body, but my initial guess is the two are unrelated. Yes, detective? You sure you're not Jimsk?
Yes, you're sure you're not. Or if you are, it's only in that Revacholian way. 4 to 5% maximum. There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box, a variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic, the kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, superb material, very cool, UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work. Oh, very interesting choice, officer. Very high culture.
This is how a sea monster sees the world. You've become a sea monster. Giant, hidden, and strangely tender at heart. All is blue.
Wow, officer. You look so cool. And they can be yours for a mere 3 real. My regular customers have passed them all up because they've got no taste. But you found them.
The lieutenant tilts his head and steps back, eyes narrowed in a thorough examination. It's a case to him.
You look like a musician. Like a blind musician. But you could do worse. Take them if you want.
A man who knows his style. Much respect.
You see a Samarran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods. When he realizes you're looking at him, his face breaks into a wide, welcoming grin.
Happy shopping, officer! Everything's cool here. Everything's cool. The goods are cool, the customers are cool, the place is cool. And one more thing, officer. You're very cool. Bang, 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 bang! You're right, officer. 100%. No playing around then. Strictly business. Maybe I can interest you in some premium menswear instead. Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past? I'm all business now. All Revachol.
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samarran Isola. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
That's right, officer. But it's a bad scene for business there. Too many regulations. Extremely bad for an independent local entrepreneur. Hey, why not support this local entrepreneur? You can start by buying a pair of sexy pants or cool sunglasses. Maybe some macaroni? Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's so cool. You investigating the local drug trade like some cool narc? But I am not a lorry driver. I am just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole. Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
Crowd. You know, the drug crowd.
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd.
Shush, please. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please, don't get me into this mess. I spent 15 years working my way up.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady. I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved. I told you.
He's not ruling her out.
All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now? I really want us to be cool now.
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it.
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes, smelling of strangers' body odors.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good quality fabrics, best retro design. Save the economy with your style, officer.
Save the economy? That sounds off.
Haven't you heard, officer? We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco. Look around, officer. You see all these premium goods just sitting there, not getting bought? We've got to keep the flow of goods moving. Is this really the economy we want to leave to our children? That's good, officer. That's exactly what the economy wants you to do.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first-hand, buy second-hand. Keep the economy moving.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek, a windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
G'day to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them. His posture is relaxed. Despite his powerful build and a knife in his hand, this man resorts to physical intimidation only infrequently, if at all.
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey overalls waving at you from across the canal. He seems disappointed about the wreckage on the waterlock and the salami.
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer? I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Sure thing. Want some too, officer?
Why not?
Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. Pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the sea interrupts the silence of the situation. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal, some other way. Isn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? Pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, nothing happens. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal, some other way. Isn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? Advanced race theory. Everything is calm in the eye of the race storm. Your mind is lucid and bright. The mind-bending phylogenetics appear more distant and, to be fair, a little ridiculous. The great race mystery has cleared up. All that's left to do is verbalize your thoughts. Go and talk to Measurehead about your newly found insights. This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, "Whirling in rags." With a well-oiled crack, the lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. Just the feeling. A warning from some part of you.
No, we need to investigate now.
The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Baptiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too, a white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
The fuck's he on about, kids? You hear that, Kuno? He thinks you're an infant or something.
See? Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash. The lid was locked and his establishment had the key. It's just a small loose thread.
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified sludge, and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork? It is. Look, the plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Boring. Try dangerous. You should do a thorough inventory of that. Be sure some has not fallen into the hands of the RCM's enemies, organized crime or worse. Official notes sometimes contain informants' names, even undercover operatives. It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
Can I help you? Thanks. I hope you found what you were looking for. How strange. I certainly didn't put them there. Sylvie had the keys before I got here, and I can vouch for her. I can vouch for all my staff. None of us would tamper with the crime scene. The trash collection service? CS Municipal. I don't see why they would put anything in the trash, though.
Ah, the elusive CS Municipal. I doubt we'll be able to track down who was sent here last and when. This will have to be one of those little threads that solves itself down the road. Thank you anyway.
Yes?
see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimpled lock. It's painted blue.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Yes. I suppose it's worth seeing if we can get in. Just to be thorough. As a side investigation.
It's hardly a side investigation. You already have a name for it.
It's hardly worth a title. Anyway, Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
The door does not budge. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side. It leads to a side building, adjacent to this one. The old building next to this, half ruined. Whatever is behind it must be older.
Can I help you? What thing? Oh, yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just a frit warehouse, probably. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So, I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. What?
You feel like you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later. Jamais vu. Derealization. Jamais vu. The opposite of déjà vu. Not already seen, but never seen. Everything that should be familiar appears strange and new, like some half-forgotten day in your childhood. Only now. That's the feeling you've been having. And for who knows how long. You should go and ask Joyce Messier about this. What world are we in? This is a fundamental question. Kim also tries not to look at the pile of taped viscera on the carpet, or the weird suitcase on the hat rack, or the potted plant dying in the corner. But it's all just too morbid to ignore. He nods.
No problem, officer.
This fan has two chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. You reach out to grab the tie, but what's this? Diffuse, radiating chest pain. Doom comes over you. This is bad. Feels like sharp stones grinding in your chest and keeping you from moving. For quite a long time. Still ongoing. Now is a good time to start worrying. Finally, the pressure recedes. You find yourself covered in cold sweat and trying not to move, hoping it will keep you from dying. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume la Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open air Boîte de Nuit somewhere in Revachol West. Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. The click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume Le Million's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head. Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix because, unlike Guillaume Le Million, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression, looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic. You have some understanding of the near history of disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic memory, however, remains in the dark. It may never return. You should prepare yourself for that. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return. It's like something snaps in you, a nerve ending, a thought, a sadness. Your face in the mirror is suddenly clean of the layer that had distorted it for God knows how long. Just like that, it's over. The running gag that your life had become. A sad old man looks back at you. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. Thank you, waterlogged ledger, for spelling it out for us. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before.
What? That thing. It's a halogen watermark. We use it for adding information to RCM property. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved.
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen watermarks. Mine too. Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. A title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close. There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. Once all the tasks are accomplished, the case is complete. Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now.
Hello again, sweetie. Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. Oh my. You know where we are, right? That's right. In a hostel called the Whirling in Rags, to be precise. The new disco dancing. It seems like a lifetime ago. Much has changed, but it is still the most beautiful city in the world. A rare jewel set in the sand between the pines. Everyone says so, even foreigners. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you then, but now she relaxes her shoulders.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Precisely, sweetie. Revachol is what's called a zone of control, led by an alliance of foreign powers. We have almost no government of our own, sadly. Oh dear, this is troubling. You really ought to know that, being one yourself. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask.
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a detective.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. Oh, and the cool piece of toilet paper is stuck to the back. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the next world mural. "41 is your precinct. It's safe to say Those are the initials of the officer responsible for the case. Your initials. That is improbable. It takes about half an hour to piece one together using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start? This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. Cause of failure: rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class." People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the belles-lettres have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. In any case, it appears to have been a rare case of civil activity in the quarter, and agreement as well. What do you want to tackle next? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter.
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes.
Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock quarter.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves.
Your secret is safe with the rotten cabbage of papers in your hand. Writing covers almost all the pages. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy of paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. You don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields. But they appear pleasantly vague. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment? Permeables. It's not hidden per se. The compartment is made for permeable materials that would get damaged if something happened to it. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. With your hands, U4-sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. actual art degree. Trite, contrived, mediocre, milquetoast, amateurish, infantile, cliché and gonorrhea-ridden peon to conformism. I fucked me. Affront to humanity. War crime. Should literally be tried for war crimes. Resolutely shit. Lacking in imagination. Uninformed reimagining of. Lip-wristed, premature, ill-informed attempt at. Talentless fuckfest. Recidivistic shit peddler. Pedantic, listless, savagely boring. Just one repulsive laugh after another. A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. This must be the Whirling's cook. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Garancy and Kubek. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Kubek. Please. It's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door. The theme on that pinball machine is a standard royalist theme, used on everything from pinball cabinets to full-flavor cigarettes. Clinging to a picture book version of the past century, waiting for the king to come back and cast out all the profiteers and homosexuals. Basically, imagine a yellow plastic crown with a liquor brand emblazoned on it. It comes free with a six-pack of Vermilion Roy d'Or. The words Roy d'Or are stamped into the crown's plastic. The sentiment is called anti-centennial nostalgia, pining for a time before the turn of the century. It's common even now, after 50 years. The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now. A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer.
Again, I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health. Here you go, mister.
The unpromising race pupil returns. And fascinating. The Revacholian degenerate shows signs of racial self-reflection. How did you accomplish this little feat? So it would seem, Thrall of Wool. I find myself at a crossroads. On one hand, this pathetic self-therapy has little to do with the great mystery of living organisms, the race enigma. And, of course, you will not be able to free yourself from the yoke of rule. It is too late. It may be little to stop at this point, but still. If the Revacholian degenerate is capable of critical thought, he may still prove a race adversary. Why should I help my adversary?
Jean, baby. Do the heroic thing.
That is not possible. The game of Shahmat you play against the rules tricks is unwinnable. The days, the weeks, the months will wear you out. The Occidental Aplo group is incapable of long-term lucid thoughts. Very well. You may enter once. Our conversation here has concluded.
Well done. Let's go.
An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara. And the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol, Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Less meaningful, but aesthetically more pleasing. You are a police officer, not a spiritual healer. You can focus the normal way by turning your attention to something and not letting go.
Is that what you're doing with those photos over there? Right. This is probably not relevant to our case. After all, we're not investigating an accounting mystery.
You're trying hard, but the data here is unbelievably dry. Something about containers. The drawer slides shut smoothly. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism, they represent a society in accord with the natural world and at the same time above it. Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white. After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections: international developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they've already alienated their readership. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Face it, you really aren't interested in foreign affairs. You're not even sure where most of these countries are. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. Why they decided to title this one section Invalda is beyond you. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. In Revachol, it's held quadrennially on the prestigious Zero Carousel racing circuit. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has two bylines, Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka. There's no way those are real names. Have you ever met anyone named Exilus? Come on, they're plainly pseudonyms. More than that, they're likely anagrams. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers, your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a fritter. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, it's the visions of brand names being engulfed in flames that you crave. It's the stilted language and overconfident tone that's the real giveaway here. You're almost certainly reading a recycled university essay, one that could probably use some edits. Armed with Lena's friendly green ape pen, you spend entirely too much time writing constructive feedback in the margins of the page. By the time you're finished, the original article is nearly illegible.
You know, most people would just write a letter to the editor. Or even better, just leave it be. Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? Well, there you have it. No reason to get hung up on the pretentious ramblings of a few young men. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. The writer G. Martin remarks dryly that capitalists love wealth redistribution so long as it's only redistributed upward. It's true, the rentiers have been bleeding you dry. You really ought to find your own place one of these days. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. There is a white rectangle clearly visible on its back.
Yes, it was probably you. It does bear the RCM insignia, after all. The service cloak issued to you by your station? Yes, I do.
As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, it almost feels like the cloak wants to deliver a message of comfort through your fingertips. interesting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. Marche. On. Arrête. Off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. And, with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. The harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. Moving this container, of course. For this purpose it was built. For this purpose it has acted, and now it will rest.
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to talk to the Union, right?
You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. No reply. Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
Because what wasn't an option? Now is not the time to get philosophical, detective. You can do that after hours.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The lyrics to this container song are being made up as he goes along. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisunt on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard.